City.
Actually, that's spot on.
It is spot on.
All the competition that try to compete.
Everything is spot on.
After a huge victory over the Kansas City Chiefs, followed by another big-time victory on Monday Night Football versus the Las Vegas Raiders, it has people wonder, is Justin Herbert and the Los Angeles Chargers the new team to beat in the AFC West? I'll start off with you, Jamar.
I'll say this. Justin Herbert blew all of us away last year. He blew me away. I didn't think he would be anything when he was picked last year, but he obviously proved us wrong. And one of the things that really proved us wrong was their O-line was horrible last year. And this year they brought in a couple guys through the draft and free agency, and they have a decent O-line. And now we're seeing you matching a great quarterback who played without a great O-line, which is usually something to show that he's not going to be successful. You bring in an O-line and he's balling out. Now, am I going to say they're the team to beat in that division? No, the Kansas City Chiefs are the team to beat in that division. And I'm firm on that. Just because they had a bad start does not mean that they're all of a sudden not even just, division contenders, but Super Bowl contenders. I'm not tripping off of a couple games. Let's not forget the Chargers just lost to the Cowboys a couple weeks ago. I don't understand why there's talk about the Chargers being so much better because of these two wins. And the Cowboys and other teams have done so well in other circumstances. So I think the Chargers are probably number 2 in that division. But I'm not quite saying that they're better than the Kansas City Chiefs, who have been to the Super Bowl as many times in the last couple of years, and I don't even know how many for the Los Angeles Chargers in the last decade.
I think right now the Chargers, based on record, are the team to beat. And I know I was one of those people to say, hey, the Chargers can possibly win 11 games this season. But I still think the Kansas City Chiefs can find a way to rally together second half of this season and still win their division. I think the Chargers are playing really well right now. Jamar talked about how their O-line is playing. So they're looking good right now. They're pretty much healthy right now. And so, yeah, they're on top right now, but they've only had 2 division games to which they won. But I think there's a long season ahead, and I don't necessarily think that they finish first in that division.
I think that you guys have a little tepid anticipations with the Chargers, and it makes sense, right? Because we know the history of the Chargers have always been, the stepchild in LA. Nobody really likes them. In fact, there are more Raiders fans at that stadium last night than there actually were, Chargers fans. But I think the tide is really changing. Of course, Jamar talked about, that quarterback that you have right there in Justin Herbert. Both of you, Mia and Jamar, talked about that offensive line. But we really need to put some respect on the defense as well. Joey Bosa knocking people down in the defensive line. You have Derwin James back there in the safety position. You also have Asante Samuel Jr., who we all remember his senior, his dad, rocking and doing some havoc back there in the secondary. He's doing the same thing. And I think this defense is really this team, and in fact, is really one of the more complete teams in the NFL. You have Austin Eckler back there. Also, catching some passes back there in the backfield, really running well as well. And then you have dynamic wide receivers. This is really a very complete team. And, you really want to hold your expectations and not get too high on them winning. But I think this really is a Super Bowl contender. They're not the Chargers of the old. They are very complete, very at every level. They have a star player that really can hold them and carry them. And I think that they don't need to have it all together. As you saw, Justin Herbert wasn't the same as he has been in the past, but they're still really good at every single level to do enough to be even the most prolific, high-scoring offense in the NFL. And that was the Raiders. They made them they did nothing on offense. And that's because their defense is good, their offense is great, and they're just scary deep.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie to you. I know I'm supposed to be impartial, but I do agree with Andre. I do think that the Chargers are your team to beat in the AFC West. That does not mean that they will not be beaten. However, when you have knocked off the Kansas City Chiefs already, you knocked off one of the fastest starting teams in the NFL, leading to the Arizona Cardinals being the only unbeaten left, and you have Justin Herbert as your quarterback, you have Joey Bosa as your defensive end, you have everything that you need. And one thing that was extremely impressive to me was 2 stats. Number one, the Los Angeles defense has held every team that they played this year to their lowest point total out of all the games that they played. That's what that defense has done. And then also, when you look at Mike Williams and Keenan Allen, one of the better wide receiver duos in the league, they were held to less than 50 yards combined last night or on Monday night. Now, while that might seem concerning, they still were able to put together a good offensive plan and get things done. And that's the mark of a great team. When your team can win, when your best players and your best assets are not performing up to their usual caliber. So yeah, I got to go with them right now. They may be knocked off, but right now, the Los Angeles Chargers are the team to beat in the AFC West. So let us know what you guys think in the comments below. Is it the Chargers? Is it the Raiders? People aren't even talking about the Raiders who are 3-0. Was that just a fluke loss? Or is it still the Kansas City Chiefs? Oh, hell, the Broncos were 3-0 too. So let us know what you guys think in the comments below. And this is Spot On Sports. We're not just accurate, we're spot on.
We thank you guys for tuning in to this week's episode. Be sure to check out more shows here on this YouTube page, such as SOS Discussions or My Point Exactly. And most of all,
keep watching Spot On Sports!
it's a new wave of sports that's sweeping the nation. We're not just accurate, it's spot on.